The basics of constructing a good, interesting paragraph. There are rules to using quotations or paraphrase material in paragraphs. So if you have a citation, there are two rules you need to pay attention to. The first one is the quote or paraphrase can never be the first sentence of the paragraph. Why? Because you should always introduce the topic of the paragraph in the first sentence. So never begin a paragraph with a quote. The second, that was the first one. The second is the quote or paraphrase can never be the last sentence of a paragraph. Why? Because you always follow the rule of thirds. So there are the 5 W's of explanation and connection to the theory that always follows a quote or a paraphrase, anything that's cited. So it can't be the first paragraph and it can't be the last paragraph. So let's go through just brainstorming and writing a paragraph about a simple topic, which is apples. So you would introduce the topic. Many people like to eat apples and they are a favorite snack around the world. Very easy. Just talking about apples. Then use a quote to support your thesis, theory, or overall topic. The topic is many people like to eat apples, their favorite snack. So a quote would be Johnny Appleseed or John Chapman is historically credited with spreading the planting and introduction of the apple tree throughout America through seeds instead of through grafting. And then, of course, I have my citation here showing where that came from. Now, the next part that always follows a quotation is the explanation or 5 W's. This is all the surrounding information about this quote that you can find. So, Turnman explained in his article, this is who, the name of the article was Appleseed, that most apple trees in America were grown from grafts, which are pieces of branches. Now, Chapman introduced a new practice of growing them from seed in the 1800s. Now, this was important because seeds take up much less room than pieces of branches used in grafts, and they do not require the care that grafts require. I did not have to research this because this was just something I knew. So you need to pull out any information that you just know, any general information that you just know, because you don't want to have to cite it. Now, after you do the 5 W's, trying to find the who, what, where, when, the 5 W's are who, what, where, when, and why. So the who is Turnman. Got that? The what is he explained in his article, Appleseed. Also that apples were grown from grafts. Where in America. When in the 1800s. Why it was important because seeds take up less room than pieces of branches used in grafts. So I had all 5 W's in that part. So the next part of the rule of thirds is connected to the theory. Remember my theory up here was many people like to eat apples and they're a favorite snack around the world. Also, that seeds instead of grafting. So we're going to go with that. Connect to the theory. Using seeds lets more people plant trees that produced apples in America. This allowed more varieties to be utilized, and the availability of the fruit grew over time. Today, the apple is plentiful in abundance as well as variety. This connects to the theory that seeds instead of grafting, okay? And the spreading and the planting and the introduction of the apple tree. This just tells, we're connecting it right back to it. After you connect to it, include, if possible, an interesting tidbit. Always put something of interest in your paragraphs. Apples can be used in many ways, which include cooking, preserving, and some people use them in crafts. The wood is often used to flavor the smoke when preserving meats, and the blossoms provide a unique nectar source for various honeys. I know all this because I do cooking, preserving, and used apples in dried apple head dolls way in the past. We've used the wood to smoke when preserving meats, and my husband has bees, so he knows the blossoms provide a unique nectar source which flavors the honey. So that was just something I knew. If you don't know that, then you include something interesting about it that you know. If you don't know something, go do some research and find out something about it. After that, the last sentence of the paragraph is the call to action sentence. and it's just asking the reader of the paragraph to do something. So my call to action sentence was, the history of the introduction and development of the apple is varied and rich. Here's my call to action. Take time to research and appreciate the humble apple. I'm just asking them to do something. That's the paragraph. So here is the finished paragraph. It's 13 sentences. It has a topic sentence. It has a quote. It has the 5 W's. It has connecting it back to the theory. It talks an interesting tidbit about the apples. And finally, the call to action in the paragraph. If you follow this, it will help you create longer paragraphs because they only get longer as you go through college, but also interesting paragraphs and making sure that you have all the necessary parts. So remember the 2 rules. You cannot, a quote cannot be the first sentence or the last sentence of a paragraph. Okay, and so if you introduce the topic, use a quotation, use an explanation, you connect it to your theory, overall theory, include, if possible, an interesting tidbit, then use a call to action. You'll have a good sized paragraph and it'll be an interesting paragraph. Okay, hope this helps.